Hey, it's Kyle here, and today I'll be reviewing A Bridge Too Far by Cornelius Ryan. I know I normally hold up the books during my review, but since this one doesn't have really a cover, or a... Hey, it's Kyle here, and today I'll be reviewing A Bridge Too Far by Cornelius Ryan. I know I usually hold up the books during my book review, since this one doesn't really have any imagery on the cover. I thought I'll probably skip that in this one. But A Bridge Too Far is a nonfiction book in World War II, set in World War II, about Operation Market Garden. If you're not a big World War II fan, it's probably not ever, but if you're not really that interested in World War II, you might have never heard of Operation Market Garden. It's a big military operation that was carried out by the Allies after the D-Day invasion in Normandy. And basically they were looking for a way to try to skip ahead of the German lines and be able to invade Germany directly as quickly as possible, and hopefully end the war in 44 and not let it go into 45. Excuse me. So they came up with this aerial military operation where basically paratroopers would be dropped into the Netherlands. They would seize certain key bridges that would basically give them a path to kind of get into Germany as quickly as possible. Then the British would kind of attack out of France and Belgium into the Netherlands, go up this highway that the bridges had been seized, and basically have a direct route into Germany. It's one of the more audacious military plans hatched in World War II. It involves a lot of the huge figures in World War II, Montgomery, Eisenhower, several very prominent German generals. And it's one of those military operations, there's a ton of what-ifs. If like so many things had went differently, it impacted who would have won this military operation. And it's have a huge impact on how the war played out. If you're not familiar with that event, and it makes it very clearly early on in the book, if you don't know how it turns out, the Allies do not win Operation Market Garden. The Germans are able to kind of succeed in stopping the Allies from seizing all their objectives during the military operation. But the thing I really enjoy about this book, that's a little bit different than a lot of nonfiction books, especially written about World War II. This book was written, I believe, in the early 60s. I know it's 50s, 60s, somewhere in that period. And the thing that kind of makes it different from like books about World War II that are written today is the author was able to interview people actually involved in the events because they were still alive. So the actual generals like Eisenhower and Montgomery were interviewed for this book. Very prominent German officers were interviewed for this book. But he also interviewed civilians in the Netherlands, soldiers like British, American, Polish soldiers who were involved in the operation, German soldiers on the other side, and was able to get their first-hand accounts of what this operation was like, what just random mundane things were like, what were their thoughts leading into it, what was the food situation, who were they friends with, what were kind of people that dealt with the stress, but then the actual events of the battle, like, what was it like? Historical records tell us this. Is this actually true? It's very fascinating. Throughout the book, there's several times he points out this has been the accepted historical fact, but after talking to several soldiers on both sides, the generals, I've come to the conclusion the accepted story is not right. It actually happened this way. So it's a very fascinating nonfiction book that gives you first-hand accounts of this hugely important historical event. So I'd say if you're really into World War II history, A Bridge Too Far is a very fascinating read, and I think you'll enjoy it. So again, A Bridge Too Far by Cornelius Ryan. I'd strongly encourage it to anybody that's really into World War II history as being a great read. Highly recommend it. So with that being said, my question, I guess, to the viewers this week is, what is your favorite book that you've read about World War II history? Let me know in the comment section below. Again, as always, if you like this video, please hit the like button. I really appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Happy reading, and I'll see you the next time.